We're talking about life and the school of what? Hardknocks. Just tell us about life, school of Hardknocks, and how you've been able to, shrug off life's Hardknocks so far.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Who was here last year? You remember me? I can't remember any face. I can't see any face. But it's good to be here. I'm happy to see you guys. I'm happy to be here. So every time I come here, I remember when I was in secondary school, right? And I'm gonna start my story from there. So when I was in secondary school, I wasn't. Would I say all that? I was all that, but I was not all that. I don't know if you get it, right? I used to be timid, but in a way that, not that I was timid in heart, but I was timid in fear. I didn't, so if I know something, I don't want to say it because I'm not sure if it was right or it's wrong. So it was from a place of fear, right? And, I was a bright student. Bright student. I did well in school and all of that. Long story short, why am I saying that? Because sometimes when you want to do some things in life, you need to first of all overcome fear, right? Fear is one of the stumbling blocks that holds people down from becoming who they want to become, right? I knew that fear was, in fact, it was later on I realized that I was afraid. I can be with my peers and I'll be afraid. I'll feel like they know more than me. But guess what? They really don't know more than me. So if you are bold enough to be able to express yourself, express what you know, no matter even if it's wrong, express it. Because you will need that skill later on in your life. So I hope you understand me. Who has been afraid to speak up here before? Have you been afraid to speak up before? Yeah. Okay, so my name is Gladys. I'm an interior designer. I'm a businesswoman. Forget interior design, I'm a businesswoman, right? I didn't start out to be a businesswoman. When I started out, I wanted to study petroleum engineering in Uniben. I was the best in JAM. I was the best in, WAEC in my school. But life happened. I couldn't go to school, right? So I was already planning my career. I want to be in corporate. I like corporate administration, management, and all of that. At the time, I didn't really know what exactly those things meant, but I really loved the idea of a woman wearing suit to the office and just being in corporate world. Have you seen people wearing suit and looking very corporate? Do you desire to be like that sometimes? You see them like, I want to, wear something like that. And my grandmother, her dream was that she wanted me to be an engineer. So I was going to become, a petroleum engineer. But life happened. I couldn't go to school, right? And I found myself with a baby at 19, right? And that gave me a long... So if, for example, now somebody that went to school, went to NYC, you have faster track than someone who is pregnant already at 19. Because first of all, you have to give birth. You have to wait for the baby to grow. You're already like late. Are you with me? Yes. I'm trying not to make my grammar too big. I'm trying to simplify what I'm saying. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. You understand? So with that, now, added to the fear I had. Oh, God. Imagine you being afraid and you now have a baby. Everything just add together. But long story short, I knew that I had a lot of work to do for myself. Because now I have setback. I'm afraid. Fear of the unknown. You are the only one who is afraid of that thing that you're afraid of. Some people, has somebody ever told you that, you look so beautiful, your hair is so nice? You'll be like, hey, am I beautiful? Or is my hair nice? It's true because you are not sure, right? And you see some people there, even some people that or maybe they're not fine, let me use the word ugly, they'll be so confident in their beauty, in what they like. Have you seen some people that don't even know something and be so bold to tell you that even that thing that they don't know, they are still bold to tell you that they know it or is right? Yes, so long story short, I knew that I had a lot of work to do. I had to deal with fear. I had to deal with my confidence, because having a child at 19 and you're talking to your friend who's already graduated at 21, you have to be confident in yourself, yes? So that you're able to stand side by side and defend what you know, or be strong in yourself. So I started working on myself. So I needed to come up to pace, complete, I'm lost for words. Someone wants to help me with that word. I needed to meet up. There was a gap and I needed to meet up, right? So I started working on myself, my fear, and what I know. I remember your face from last year. I started working on my face, fear, and my knowledge level. Are we with me? Are you with me? So what are the three things that I worked on? And are you following me? I started working on my fear, my knowledge level, confidence, building my confidence. All right? And that was how I started coming out of, getting myself, knowing who I am. All right? So I will stop there. I have another point, but next one.
Okay, hello everyone. Please clap for her. I know she tried to make it as simple as possible, but having a child at 19, even people who are married, they don't want to have children immediately they get married. And somebody said nobody fears pregnancy more than married people. All right. So like having a child and having to do all of that, it's a lot. All right. So thank you very much, ma, for sharing. Okay, my name is Rotimi Okungbaye. I'm a photographer. I like to call myself a retired photographer because I used to be very active. I grew up in a very close-knit family. Father, mother, brother, 2 sisters, right? Then myself, the last born. And everything was rosy. We're not, my father did not have to write a book making it big, right? I didn't have to, my father was not a rich, in quotes, like the way the world sees riches now. But we were very comfortable and very happy. And, I went to Command. Anybody here from Command? School? Fantastic. That is the actual school of Hardknocks. Literal knocks. I went to Command, 6 years. I always told my parents that, after the first year, I was like, I want to leave this school. Say, don't worry, we'll change it. Just try it out. Just 1, try it out. Just 2, try it out. Just 3, try it out. SS1, you're almost done. Right. That was the actual school of Hardknocks. If anybody here who attends boarding house, I know some schools, your boarding house is, you are fresh. They will serve you food in like a cooler on the table. They even mix tea for you. You're flexing. My school, Takpata Ibadan. There's something we used to call, just to quickly go back, we call it lucky fish. White rice and lucky fish. I don't want you to guess because you won't even get it. So lucky fish means that during dinner, there's rice, there is stew, but now, that fish, normally they will serve you see one whole fish on your food. But when it's lucky, when you scatter fish inside. And so, lucky fish meaning that when they want to scoop stew for you, just be praying, God, I beg, please Forgive me all my sins. Right? And when you scoop and you pour it, are you just saying just watery stew? Or there's watery stew and some elements of protein? That's for Lucky Fish was before the song back then. Lọ́jọ́ Monday, Eba Lanje. Lọ́jọ́ Tuesday, Eba Noni. Right? But regardless, we came out fine. So, just talk a bit about resilience. As teenagers or young adults, one of the things that you need to understand is the concept of resilience. Now, not all of us are privileged. Some people come from rich homes. Fantastic. It's not a terrible thing. In fact, embrace it. If you have rich parents who are willing to give you all the very best, love them, appreciate them, leverage it. But if you don't think that, because my parents are not rich, I can never make it. No, never. You don't think like that. Right? Your own is, you are not in control of your parents' wealth or riches or whatever. You are in control of your own life, your own choices. So how do you, in quotes, get better, improve, and, in quote, leave poverty is you face so you're in school, right? Your primary purpose of going to school is to what? Is to study knowledge, right? So if your parents have paid your school fees and you are sent to school, you don't go there to gallivant. Maybe that's too much. Is that big English? You don't go there to play. School is for studying. So you study. I was about to say study to show that you're self-approved. But essentially, you study to show you're self-approved, right? You have to honor the sacrifice of your parents, right? Your parents may not have everything, but if they've sent you to school. Okay, sorry, turn off the mic. Study. You're in just one. Study like your life depends on it. I mean, while it's good to have maybe other extracurricular things, sports and other things, very important for your development, for your complete development. But you are in school primarily for your academics. And if you fail, right, then you've missed the main purpose of going to school. So in all thy getting, get your good grades, first of all. Do you guys know Ben Carson? Okay, fantastic. I mean, he's still a legend, right? When I do like Ben Carson, I'll be a neurosurgeon. Primarily because my daddy, he's a retired nurse, so he always had his nurse, his overall, and all of those things. So I was like, be a doctor, right? Call me I'm a doctor, or call me doctor. I got to JAM, I wrote JAM. It did not jam me, right? But I did not get the required scores to get into University of Ibadan for medicine. So I was like, but I cannot wait at home. So I said, okay, let me go to, second choice was Covenant University for microbiology, but I got biochemistry, right? So I was like, okay, if I do biochemistry for a few years, then after biochemistry, I will do so biochemistry will be a pre-med course for me. Pre-medicine course is basically like something you do before you get into actual medicine. So my plan was after biochemistry, I would just go back to medical school and I would become a medical doctor. And my life starts from there. When I go to my final year, biochemistry is that when you study biochemistry? Biochemistry is a very difficult course. People say the courses are difficult, but I'm not going to lie. That course is hard. From the glycolytic pathways, all the pathways you have to cram in your, Jesus, thank you. Right? So biochemistry, so I got the final year and I was just thinking to myself, what will I, am I patient enough to go for NYSC, then come back for another 5 to 6 years studying medicine in Nigeria? Because almost every day now, doctors are complaining that they are striking or the nurses are striking. So I was just picturing the fact that, will I be comfortable enough? Do I have that patience? Is it really worth it? Right? Ben Carson has lived his life already. Right? I have classmates, at least one person I know that went back to study medicine. I think she's about wrapping up now. I graduated from university 10 years ago. So when I got to final year, I was like, you know what? Medicine, Igobi, right? Peace. So the next thing was, okay, what am I now going to do? Do I want to work in a laboratory? Do I want to work in, because for my IT, I worked at Nestle as a quality assurance intern. So like, okay, do I go into, food, and all of that, FMCG and all of that. So when I got out of university, in my final year, I was already, acclimatizing with photography. So when I got out of when I was 7, I started doing photography. I was learning. I was, working with someone I knew to take pictures, shoot weddings, and all of that. And it was getting good. It was fantastic. People were calling me to come and do stuff for them. So I was like, okay, it's not bad. Photography, it's not bad, right? In fact, at some point, I tried to learn how to code. When I saw it, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Jesus, what is this? Right? So whether you want to learn photography, you want to learn coding or AI, whatever, design, video editing, it just takes that commitment. All right? Takes that commitment. So, yeah. Then finally, I was working in photography. Then I was like, okay, what does this whole photography thing look like in the corporate world? So I applied to Andela. I don't know if you guys know Andela. Andela, was a tech company, one of the leading tech companies in Nigeria back then before, things changed. And then I got into Andela. So from there, I was doing photography, videography, social media. I was managing media in Andela. And I did that for like 3 years. Then I got into Flutterwave, right, to do marketing. So that's my journey. But now to the actual Hardknocks part of it. At Andela, at some point, Andela had to downsize. Right. You know what we need to downsize? To lay off people. You can quote, to sack people. Do you understand? So, okay, maybe because the company wasn't making enough money, and then the staff, number of people that they had, wasn't commensurate with the number of revenue they were bringing in. So they had to take out some people, reduce some roles so that they can have enough money to take care of the people. Do you understand what that means? So that happened, and Andela had to lay me off in 2020. Right. And so when that happened in 2020, first of all, I was very, very sad. Then I realized that it's part of life. Every company, so this is for you, whenever you start working, have this at the back of your mind. The company will always come before you. Let me take that again. The company will always come before you. So if the company is struggling and they need to increase their money by letting some people go so they can, so instead of me paying your salary for 12 months, I can have your salary for 12 months to keep the company growing. They will let you go. So you have to always choose yourself first. All right? Okay, so we'll continue this gist later. Let me hand over to
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I think conversations are connecting because the resilience is at the back of everything. I always say that the outcomes that I've had in life are majorly attributable to decisions I made when I was very, very young. And I'll tell you a few backstories. So I was born in what you call an average family. My father had a good job. He was a teacher, but he wasn't doing badly at all because he had the business on the side. My mom was largely available because she was just stacking up. We were going to move to Abeokuta in Ogun State because my mom had gotten a job that was supposed to be like. So she had this thing where she wanted to take care of us when we were young. At that time, I was approaching secondary schools, and I was second child. I was last born at that time. There were 2 of us, my brother and I. We were approaching secondary school, and she felt like, oh, now it's time to start working. So she got this job in Abeokuta, which meant my father had to retire very early. At the time, he was about to become a principal, but then he retired so that he could come with her to Abeokuta. On the other side of retirement was the fact that there was a friend of his that was starting a very nice, lucrative business in Abeokuta. So it felt like everything was working together. She had this job. This is friend was also starting. And that his friend had been saying, come and do this thing with me. So we moved to Abeokuta. Now, 3 months in, I remember when we arrived at Abeokuta, we lived without his friend for like the first 1 month while they were trying to find a place for us to stay. And it was like living in a palace. The guy had so much money. They would bake cake every day, chicken. I was like, what a life. This is great. So it looked like this is what our life would be like. But then, like a month into our stay, we found our own place. A nice bedroom flat, it was lovely. The business started and it was going well. But it was like doing Jumia 1997 without digital payments. Now, there was now somebody in the team that was stealing. Long story short, in 4 months, the business crashed with over 10 million naira in debt in 1997. I don't know if you know how much 10 million naira is in 1997. So it meant that for like 3 months, my father couldn't step out of the house because police was looking for him. And then, in all of that, my mom now got pregnant with my sister. So we went from, and this, I'm sharing this story because these are the most defining parts of my life. There were the points where I made some decisions that I believe have been very, very important to my journey. Because it meant that we went from comfortable to poor in 1 week. Poor as in, what are we going to eat this afternoon? Do you understand? So we went from to us going to go and look for cassava that we will now process. You know, when you get cassava, you process it, you can make gari, you can make fufu. Then under the fufu, there is something they call flakes, if you cannot relate. It meant that, exactly, it meant that I was like, maybe I was about 10 or so at the time, we would now go take walks around the area to go and see where there's a way that we can get from, so there's just going on its own. That kind of poverty, where there was extreme, and my father was, and after the 3 months, when there was an all clear from the police that they were going to pay the money back, there's nothing this man did not do. I remember there was time that they also had money to get a taxi. I don't know, I can't remember what happened to taxi. There was time we were making chalk. There was time that we were making fish. There was time we opened a store, we were selling fairly used clothes. There's no business that we didn't try to do. And I say we because my parents are very deliberate about how they're raising us. So they will sit us down, have conversations. All of us will be involved. So it meant that if you are selling clothes, I'm also in the shop selling clothes after school. It meant that, and secondary school, my brother went to secondary school first. I knew that if there's going to be a school fees OAS list, my name is Aramide, my son is Aramide, it's A. So before they call 4 people, they will call me. So I realized that there has to be something more about me. This thing cannot define me. In fact, secondary school, primary school was okay. Before we finished the exam, they will find a way to pay. And then our pastor owned the school, so sometimes we give rebates. But secondary school, sometimes we'll be owing first term school fees in third term, which means we've not paid for first term, we've not paid for second term. And I was in a school that we had kids that were politicians' children. We had kids that were, because it was a very good school, it was perhaps the most expensive school at the time. We had kids that were schools that were from politicians, that were from artists, popular people whose parents would come. There was this girl that father used to, when they bring her to school, they used to bring 3 cars. 1 car will carry her and her parents, 1 car will carry her grandparents, 1 car will carry provisions. Those kind of people. People who, every holiday they've gone somewhere. It was a defining moment for me because it now meant that even though we were owing so much, they couldn't send us away. Do you know why? Because if they send me my brother home, my brother was in GS3, I was in GS1, then it was in SS1, I was like that. If they send us home, it means the school will flop in every competition. We were the ones going to every competition. Jet competition, it is us. Debate competition, it is us. Essay competition, it is us. So they will call our parents and say, your children are always owing, but they cannot leave school because we need them. What are we going to do? It was a light bulb moment for me. I can have shortcomings, but when I put value forward, nobody ignores value. It was a light. In fact, there was a year that my father had to come and teach in this school to pay our school fees. Do you understand? So he was a math teacher for like 3 months, so that instead of paying him, it's to cover our school fees. And I remember the day I realized we were no longer poor. I was already in Unilag at the time when I read. The day I went home and I realized that we were no longer poor. We were coming from church and we stopped by the market. My mom said I should cross to go and buy plantain. That was why are we buying plantain? Plantain is like luxury. After you have eaten rice, you now eat plantain. She said we should buy. I was in year 1 Unilag. She said we should buy plantain. So she gave me 200 naira, 500 naira. That was money at the time. And I bought plantain. And then when we got to my, she said, Dingo boy. I was like, what? She said, fry everything. The cool kids used to pay me to write their essay. If they say write essay, I write 10 essays, submit 1 and sell 9. I'm not joking. So I didn't used to go home. The senior that wants to toast girl in my hostel, I will write love letter, I will collect money. So I realized very early that there's value. Once you are able to find the value in yourself, the other things stop counting. I remember the day I realized I was short. I'm a short person. I'm actually very short. If you look at me, you may not know, but I'm not up to 5 feet. I'm actually very short. The day I realized that I'm a short person, when SS2, we were coming from the physics lab, going back to our class. It's quite a walk. And a friend of mine, Tosin, just said, this Pomelofa is short, Sha. I'm like, Because growing up, I wasn't short, but GS2, I've been this height since GS2. But I told myself again, nobody will ever refer to me as the short girl. Because you won't notice I'm short. There will be many more other things to talk about when you talk about me. And that thing, people that we were in school together, secondary school together, they did not even know that we were that poor. The only time they guessed was when I had the kids come and teach. But being a very creative person, the way I spun that is teaching, it was CSR. It was as if he had so much time, wanted to just give back. The point of this is that circumstances can happen to us, but we always choose what we do with this. We always choose. So I will go back home with things, because all these rich kids, their provisions will end up in my locker. Their money will end up in my hand. And when we have conversations, you cannot know more than me. I have not traveled to where you have traveled to, but I can read about it. So as I've gone through my career and my life, I found those things to be very defining. Having a good sense of who I am. I'm not the girl whose parents don't have money. They don't have money. My parents didn't afford it. To give perspective, my parents have about 6 houses now. My brother's school abroad at some point. I didn't want to school abroad, but I did not go for masters abroad. My sister's about to go to Milan. My mommy still sends me money randomly. That's 100K coffee. So that's tell you how comfortable they are now. They turn things around. But that circumstance could have happened to my self-esteem. But instead, it was a shaper. It was the light bulb moment that helped me realize I can decide who I want to be. I can decide how people see me. What value do I have? This value, I can make it more important than whatever else that you. And that thing has helped. So David has questions. Because in career and everything, we've had setbacks. But that solid thinking, there's too much value here to put down. It has been a light bulb. It has been a light bulb.
Please put your hands together for them. Wow. Who guys are taking notes and following? All right. We would also take questions from the audience. If you have questions at this point, you can write down your questions and give it to one of the volunteers who would be in the crowd, in the audience, so that we don't interrupt their flow. Just write your questions. Now, let's go back to Mrs. Ame. You spoke about some of the decisions you made for yourself and all that. And now you're a businesswoman. So for some of the young people here, it feels like magic. So I want to know on their behalf, what was it like? Was it a sweet experience? I'm not talking about the pregnancy part. We have moved from there. So when you now decided to own your life and make all those decisions, and it just feels like something that happened as you are saying it, 1, 2, 3, and it happened. So just, go deep. How was that experience? Was it tough, or it was just, so let's go deeper.
Hello? Okay. So I didn't start out, like I said earlier, I didn't start out, in going to business. It was life circumstance that pushed me into business. So I was an accidental entrepreneur. So I remember when, so I have a child. That's my why. So you like to identify your why. Okay. You have to identify your why. What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want to do what you want to do? Why do you want to go into this? Why do you want to be like your friend? Why do you want to have gray hair? Why do you want to have dreads? There must be a reason. So for me, my son was a reason because I felt like I needed to give him a life. I brought him into this life. I needed to give him a life. I needed to give him food. We were hungry, right? So I started hustling for things, like hawk for things, buy stuff, sell fruit salad, different things. But transferring into business was a time where I didn't have a job. So I sat at home for a while. There's an architect in my church, and I said, let me go and meet this woman. I'm sure she will need someone to help her run errands and all of that, So I went to meet her. I told her, I said, Ma, I live in Magodo at the time, and she lives in Ogudu. I said, I don't have a job. I'm just sitting at home. I didn't even have a job. First of all, I don't have a certificate. So either I'm doing front desk, or I'm doing office assistant, or I'm just trying to. So I needed to do something important. So I went to meet her. I said, we don't have a vacancy and all of that. I said, I can do anything. You don't need to employ me. Let me just be, be around people that are working. You understand? So she said, okay, go and meet the people that are producing at the back. So I went to the back, met with them. So she sent me to the market to buy fabrics, get prices of things and all. So when I go to the market, and I'm going to talk about the reason why I do that. When I go to the market, she'll say, okay, go and get gray fabrics. What I do, I'll get different shades of gray fabric. And I'll get the prices. And I'll price them, like get their barest minimum of, okay, this is 1,500 per yard, right? And I'll write it at the back, get their phone numbers or, know the shop numbers, and I'll take it to her. So I was doing these things like this, and I'll give you a scenario before I go there. There's a scenario that happened in the bank. So the manager asked, I'll go back to my story. The manager asked 2 staff to go and get watermelon. One of the staff went, got watermelon, and brought. The other person went out and thought, okay, what kind of watermelon does my oga want? Is it the full one that is uncut? Or is it the one that is cut? Or is it the one that is juiced? There are different type of watermelon. Is it the one that's already inside popsicle? Who knows popsicle? That's already used to do popsicle, right? This one went and just bought the round watermelon. Now, the other one went and got, okay, so man said, go and get the price of watermelon. The other one went and got the price of the whole watermelon. This other one, let me say Mark, and this one is James. James went to get the price of one watermelon, and Mark went to get the price of the whole watermelon. The one that is cut, Aboki is a cut watermelon. You can buy it for 200 naira. There are people who have done juiced watermelon. People who have done watermelon put inside popsicle. And they came back. Who did the job better? Right? Because why are you bringing me whole watermelon? How will I cut it in the office? Right? So that is what I did. I didn't know that thing at the time. But I know that I have to give a value for that woman to see me relevant around her. I will get a different shade of gray fabric, get the prices. In fact, price them. So at the point, I was the one doing errands for her. There was a branch of bank that she was working at. We'll go to the site together. She'll ask me questions. Oh, so why are you working? Oh, so why are you doing this? She didn't know me so well at the time and all of that. So there was a time she sent me a loan. And the bank is 3 floors. On the ground floor is where you have like the ATM thing and all of that. First floor, you have the other things. The last floor is like management floor. So they were working at the ground floor while we were doing the other 2 floors. And I got there, the whole site was just upside down, everything, dusty, dirty. I just organized the boys that are working. I said, let's clear this place, move this furniture this way. Out of instinct, right? Out of instinct, I did all of that. And when she came to this, she said, who cleaned up this place? They told her I was the one. Long story, so when they are doing bricklayer work, I'll follow them. The guy is plastering up. Don't carry the bucket of bricklayer pan. I'll take it to the guy in the ladder. I wasn't doing it just because I knew I was going to do interior design later in my life. Well, not because I was trying to be relevant in that space. I won't go there and sit down and say, I'm waiting for madam to come. When she comes, she will tell me. Some people do that. They'll sit down and wait for you to come and tell them if they should stand up or sit down. So that way, I started gaining knowledge in this thing. I knew how to mix cement and sand to give you a perfect plaster or batter or whatever mix, right? And from there, I started getting a lot of knowledge. And then one day they called me and said, you are one of the best things that have happened to us. That's after 4 months. That have happened to us in this organization, in this office. And so we want to offer you a salary. 60,000. At the time, 60,000 was about $60 billion to me. It was a lot. I'm like, why are you giving me this? That's a lot. I was going to be 10K or 20K. I'll be all right. Because sometimes I would trek from Magodo to Ogudu to go and meet her. But I became very relevant. So now, buttressing what she said, because I was going to say that you have to put up value first. And money will follow. Value is the first thing when you are thinking about your life, your why. Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Where am I going? Do you want to be like Wizkid? It's value. Do you want to be like Otedola? It's value. Right? So what is the value you're trying to build into yourself? One of the values I built into myself was integrity. I said, no matter what, if you wake me up day and night, my yes is going to be my yes, my no is going to be my no. I will never take what does not belong to me. I will not. So I'll give an example. I was doing a project in Ghana. They credited us this amount of money, plenty. And after 2 weeks or 2 days, we saw the same credits, the same amount of money. They don't know about it. They don't know about it. I saw it. My husband and I checked it. I said, okay, let him check the serial number or something. There's like a code to know if it was like the same alert that came twice or different, alerts. So we checked it. Now we realized that it was a different alert. So the next day I sent an email. I called the country manager. I said, we'll send a credit and blah, 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 blah. Please kindly just send the account or you guys just run a reversal debit on the account. Till date, that lady could have lost her job. Somebody would have lost their job actually because it was an error. We returned the money. Why did I do that? Can somebody tell me why? Just answer. Good. Because I already set myself that integrity will be at the beck and call of what I do. So when I started this business, I already knew, okay, I cannot swindle somebody. The first time I ever got a business, I'll tell you, they had given me 40,000 naira to put my son in school because I didn't have money. And I looked at the 40,000, I said, if I use this money and put this boy in school, that means next time I'll go back and beg for 40,000, right? Now, just thinking loud to myself, I used half of that 40,000 naira. I got a phone because I was in a Torchlight phone at the time. That was 2012, right? I got a phone. Techno A1 or something. One Techno just came out that time. I got it, pay small. I told myself, I gave myself target that I will make sure that I finish paying for this phone. I used half of the money to put my son in school. I bought some of the things for him and all of that. And I went to the markets. I started snapping curtains, wallpaper, and all of that, and put on OLX. When I registered for OLX, who remember OLX? I know the older ones will remember. So OLX is like your Jumia. Who have shopped on Jumia here? Who knows Temu? My son shopped on Temu a lot. Okay. OLX was like Temu. You have your storefronts, you register your name, you put your picture, you put your product, put your email, put everything. I registered it. On Saturday, I was washing, I was checking if they will approve my registration. They approved it in 2 hours or 3 hours. Somebody just called me. Oh, my name is Tosin. I saw your thing on OLX. I want to buy 3D wall panel. Are you available? Of course. What am I doing in my life? I'm available. Yes. And it was a Sunday. Can you come and do it tomorrow? I said, yes. Do I have any other job I'm doing? I called the installer. After church, 9 o'clock, we rushed to the place and all of that. And do you know that I still have that client since 2012? Because I know my personality. I'm a happy, jolly, good fellow. Integrity was part of the thing. When the man sent me 120K, 120K was like, I'm not sure I know anybody around me that have 120K. It was a big money. It wasn't all my money. Out of the money, I made 22K or something. I can't remember, right? But integrity was at the core of what I do. Trust is at the core of what I do. And let me tell you something. Don't think trust is something you wait till when you are old to do it. You have to start building trust right now. Start building integrity right now. You can't go about collecting money from different of your friends that don't pay back. Kenneth, please give me five naira. How much do you spend right now, safe? 500 naira, 200 naira. And you now go and meet Toby, just for me 15 naira, move rice. Or sorry, give me this one. You will hold everybody in your class. Or you collect textbooks, you won't return it back. Or you collect pen. Those little things tell about the kind of person you are. The heart that you have. The kind of heart you will have. Some people have hard hearts, like wicked. Some children, you like, where are you coming from? I know in school, some of my mates, they taunted my life. When they are coming like this, I used to run that way. Because, out of childhood, play and all of that, they will frustrate you, traumatize you. When I used to dream about that boy in my school because he traumatized my life. So it is now you start building those things because they will help you in your journey. Right? It wasn't easy. I started very little. Like I told you, I started on OLX, right? From there, you start building trust. People start knowing you that, when she says she's coming, then she's coming. When she said they are bringing stuff, then they are bringing it. You start building trust, start building your value. See, if you don't go home with anything today, I want to give you an assignment. Go home in your quiet area. Don't talk to anybody. Write down your values you want to live by. The values you want to live by. If you're a girl, if you say you will not wear clothes that expose your cleavages, you don't wear anything, that's your value. Some other people, another thing is their value. Some other people say, I will never use swear words. Right? When I'm talking to someone, I won't use Oreo pe, Oreo da, Oreo this, Oreo that. You say to yourself, I will not use swear words. You say, okay, I will keep myself until I'm ready to take any, emotional responsibility or something. So write down the set of values you want to live by. It will help you in making a lot of decisions, right? Now, a lot of times I don't sell myself right now. Oh, come and buy my, it's a place of marketing and all of that. But guess what? People would offer you money in place of value. When you put value first, there are some clients that calls me and say, Gladys, I want to do something in my household. Before they say Jack, I carried myself, I'm on my way there. Because I appreciate the value that they've seen in me, right? The one of the other things I'll say is how to manage the people around you, your friends. You know what that will translate to? That will translate managing relationships and connections. If you cannot manage just your friend tell you something, the next minute your whole school, I've heard it. Who said it? Is you. Can't keep your mouth shut. You have to be able to manage friendships. Build good friendships around school. Right? Build good friendships. So I'm just saying that because why I'm saying all of this is because I'm trying to get you to get value out of what I'm saying, right? Even when I started business because, I was hungry. And then from there, I decided that, okay, when people get me, they will get the value of what they paid for. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are you Gen Z or you are Gen Alpha? I don't even know which one people are. You are mix, Abi. It's a mix. All right, so, lost my job. I was sad. Luckily for me, I did not have a lot of responsibilities. So I was not married then. And I was staying with my dad, so I was not paying rent. So, yes, I was sad and all of that. But one thing I did, and it really, like she said, how you handle difficult moments, difficult moments can do two things to you. They can either make you stronger, or they can send you into a downward spiral. So you can either say, okay, this has happened. It doesn't matter what has happened. I will keep going. Or you'll be like, I lost my job. Will I ever get any job again? Then you go into vices and different things. That's not how it's supposed to be. So when I lost my job, I cried. In fact, I wrote about it. I wrote an article about it and all of that. But what I did was I leveraged my relationships. I'm not going to lie. I prayed about it. I'm a Christian. And we always go back to the Lord. Not only in difficult times, at all times, but especially in difficult moments. You know what David said? David encouraged himself in the Lord. So, I cried, prayed to God, spoke to God. Then I started leveraging my relationships. Yes, I also went back to, taking some courses. I took one major course that really helped me. Then I also leveraged relationships because the truth is, the year before that, 2019, I got a job at Flutterwave. But something happened that I could not take the job. So I had to let it go. Right. Another Hardknocks thing. Right. I couldn't take the job. So the company had said, whenever I'm ready, I can always come back. So luckily for me, and I'm using the word luckily, but frankly, it is just God's favor. Right. I went back. And, I was able to, talk, and eventually I got this job and all of that. So, and that has helped me thus far. The key lesson here, dear friends, is everything will not go smoothly in your life. Some people think they will just, the way graph is, it's just up like this. You've seen physics students, hey, what's that SS1 physics thing? Projector that you go, I used to like physics a lot. In SS1, I was the best in physics in SS1. But SS2, SS3, I switched to food and nutrition. Right? So projectile, to go like a wave, it goes up and down. And so life will not always be like, some people will write, maybe they told you, maybe even in this camp program, tell you, write your 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years vision. Some of you, by 20, I want to be driving my car by 20. By 25, I want to have my house. Let me calm down. I want to be married by 25. Then, have my house by 27. Have my children, right? And I'm not saying it will not happen. It may happen, but the most important thing is to prepare yourself for when things change. Because you did not get married at 25 does not mean you won't still get married. Correct? Because you didn't get your own car by 20 doesn't mean you won't still own your car. Life is, like Bishop Oyedepo will always say, Life is in phases, men are in sizes. So you would always go through different phases in your life, and then you grow into the size for that phase. All right. Right now you're in school. This is your phase. Your size is you must excel, succeed, come up with a first class, or come up with multiple A's in your YX, score high in your JAM, whatever. That is where you are right now. When you get to university, you must come out with a good grade. When you start working, you must excel at work. You must be excellent at work. So when you go through adversity, you must understand that it is not the end. In fact, recently I was talking to some of my colleagues, and they were asking me that, have I ever thought about it that, what if I no longer have this job that I have? What will I do? And I told them, my experience from the past, when I lost my job, I did not die, right? So life will go on. And in fact, because when I got this Flutterwave job after I lost my job, it was better pay. So in fact, greater is ahead. So I'm not going to think and say, because when you start thinking like that, there's that fear that sets in that, I must not lose this job. Oh. I mean, there's good fear that allows you to give your best, but there's that unhealthy fear like, it's do or die. You don't want that. So prepare for adversity. Know that difficult moments will come. But what is much more important is what it does to you, how it changes you, how it makes you more resilient. So if I lose my job today, I know that what I need to do is reapply, 1, 2, reaccess my skills, improve on my skills, 3, I have a photography, I call myself a retired photographer. I can unhang my boots and wear it back and start carrying camera, right? And number 4, worst case scenario, I reduce my lifestyle and then I prepare for what is ahead. So difficult moments come, but what is much more important is how it builds you, how it strengthens you, how it makes you see things differently and even do things better. Right? So never, maybe you failed the subject in school. It doesn't make you a failure. You failed because maybe you didn't prepare well. It doesn't make you a failure in life. I failed a course in university. In my 100 level, I failed a 3-unit course. It was my favorite course. And I was surprised that I failed it. Like, many people failed it, but I was like, I loved this course. It was a microbiology course. I loved it. So how did I fail a 3-unit course? And if you're in university, you know that when you fail a 3-unit course in 100 level, it has already shattered in some way. It has scattered your CGPA in final year. So what happened was the next year that I was going to write the course, I was going with my juniors. For some people, they'll be ashamed. Say shame weigh me like rapper. See, because I knew that I was in Covenant University, it was a private university. My parents were not rich. So it is either I pass or I pass. Right? So I had to forget shame. Like Jesus said, you would despise the shame. Right? And I got an A in the course. All right? So please, difficult moments can come, but let it shape into a better person. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi. Okay. So I'm going to talk to Bamulafe now. I assume there are no questions from the audience. Now, yesterday, let me give you a background to what I want you to talk about. In the audience, we have a potpourri of participants. We have those who are Nepo babies, those that their parents, even though they said they are poor, but they can go to Covenant University.
I went to Covenant when we were poor too. I know in fact, I didn't stay in Covenant because I knew that if I stayed, I did only Alpha. I didn't come back for Omega. Because I knew that if I don't get a first class in this school, my parents will not forgive me. The way they looked for this money, it's like carrying the entire family money. So that's why I only stayed 1 semester in Covenant and said, I must find my way to a federal school where we can have less pressure.
All right. So there are those in the audience that, okay, their parents can afford Covenant University. There are those that it is Unilag or LASU, and Akungba, that their parents can afford. But there are those that even do jump is almost impossible unless there is a miracle. Now, those are the ones I want us to talk to today, right from your next intervention. Now, because yesterday we're talking about AI, learning tech skills, but there are people that they don't even have a smartphone in the audience. So when you are saying AI, computer, you're not talking to them. So let's embrace them now. What would you tell to some people like that? It doesn't look as if formal education is the first option right now with the way things are looking, and not like they are also as smart as they ought to be to wriggle their way through 4 years in the university. So if you were going to talk to such set of people in the audience from your own story, what would you tell them?
I'd say that the beginning of solving a problem is acknowledging that I have a problem. I find that what happens a lot is that people try to deny their circumstance. So you want to fake it, you make it, you want to pay. No. Are we poor? Yes. Do I have helpers? No. If you identify your situation clearly and you define it, it gives you clarity to know where to begin. Secondly, no matter how poor or disadvantaged you are, there will still be something that you have. No matter how helpless or disadvantaged, there will be a skill. There will be an innate talent. It could be the way you're able to smile and light up a room. I'll give an example. I was talking about how, in fact, Unilag is the third university I went to because I kept on going to that story for another day. But in between universities, one time I noticed that I had the thing for children. So there was a couple in church who had at our church in Abekota who had young children, and I knew that it was a struggle. So I told the woman, "Can I watch your kids while you were away?" It wasn't for money; she wasn't paying me. But do you know that when I came to Unilag eventually, they had now moved to Lagos. There is no way I knew that they were going to move to Lagos years down the line. When I came to Unilag eventually, they had moved to Lagos. I stayed in their house for the 4 years I was in Unilag. Wow. So there's always like something that you can. First, what is my situation? Identify it. Second, what do I have? How can I turn what I have to value? Right? We must not be ashamed of where we are. Once we are ashamed of where we are and what we are, we're not able to embrace help when it comes. So if I recognize that these my parents, they are doing their best, they love me and everything, but they don't even have the funds to take care of meals, they can't. Okay, I'm able to write, I'm able to sing, I can take care of kids, I'm able to clean. Because I'm not ashamed, I'm not afraid. I understand that this situation is the circumstance, is my definition. I'm able to take that skill to go and look for value somewhere to say, please, I can clean. I know people that cleaned their way through university. People who taught private lesson through university. Myself, I started writing in year 2. I started writing for money. I started writing for Bella Nigeria, maybe year 2. Right? And interestingly, by that time, I didn't even really need the money anymore because my parents had turned things around, right? But it was a thing of joy to be able to go home and you buy bread, you buy lamp, you say, I wrote one article and I got paid for it. But the beginning is always be clear with your circumstance. Don't try to look, because we always want to look like our friends and be like, oh, nobody should know. Let them know. Remember that we said before that beyond my current circumstance, there are other things that define me. So once you find your situation, once you find what you can offer, be ready to offer. It's something we call elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is a statement that defines what you can bring to the table quickly. So it comes from a situation to say if you suddenly block Dangote in an elevator now and you have 1 minute. And I'll give a practical example. There's a girl that I buy from in Sabo Market, right? And every time I like the way the girl interacts, she smiles. Typically, I'll go to market with my daughter and she will smile, she will laugh. So one day I asked her, why are you always here? Why are you not in school? She said, oh, she finished by egg. I said, show me your results. But she had a good result, B's and A's. I said, what school do you want to go to? She just started laughing. I said, what school do you want to go to? She mentioned the school, a federal university. I said, so why are you laughing? She said, because she knows it's not possible. I said, how much is this federal university? She said she doesn't know. Have you done JAMB? She said she doesn't. She has not done JAMB. There's no money for JAMB form. I said, okay, go and find out how much JAMB form is. This is my number. Call me. She went to the market 1 month after. I said, why didn't you call me? She said, ma, I know that it's not possible for me to go to school. Jam form at that time was 30,000. 30,000 was what I used to buy pizza for my daughter. Do you understand? So I could easily have paid that jam form. But she had come to a point where she could not see possibility. I went back and said, jam form is going to close in 1 week's time. Can you call me? Let me know how much jam form is. Let's buy jam form. She never reached out. Do you know that for that university, the school fees is like 20-something thousand?
Yes, no, very true.
To go is not that hard though. If you sell pure water, if you sell bottled water consistently, you will go to federal university. What will be hard is something like maybe hostel. But the options are never as slim as we think about it. Once you come to a place where you open your mind, say, this is my problem, this is what I have, this is what I want to achieve, you can turn anything around. Because possibilities come when you begin to look for them. See that girl, I could easily have paid for that jam form and paid for the 4 years of university without feeling it. And she was even smart enough to get a scholarship because she had B's and she had A's. I'll give you another example. My first job, I had to do an interview for somebody that was supposed to come to assist us. And this guy had done physiotherapy in a school in Oyo State. For 6 years, he had not been doing anything. The job he was coming to apply for was like an assistant kind of job. Okay, you went to do physiotherapy in this school. You had a 2-1. Why have you not worked since then? He said because he wanted to do medicine and he didn't get medicine. So he did physiotherapy. But nobody cares about physiotherapy in Nigeria. Nobody even... You could have opened a small spa in your house. You could have said, I'm arranging leg. There are always options when you're looking for it. Do not put yourself in a place where you feel it's over. There's no point. Your parents cannot afford to pay for school. Good. It's a 2-3 year plan. If I learn to make hair by saying I will wash plates in your salon, I'm looking at what you are doing, and I make hair, in 2 years' time, I can raise the money to finance the school. In fact, I can start. I'm making that hair in school. I'm paying the fees. There are always options. And do you know what happens? Once you start the thing, help finds you on the way. Somebody will say, you're working so hard. Why are you working so hard? You say, I don't have an answer. Don't worry, I will do this. But nobody helps somebody who is not doing anything. In fact, that girl I was talking about, it was because of the way she was handling her auntie's shop so professional. She was so happy at the job. She will smile. If you say, I want to buy this, I don't have, let me cook and get this for you. I said, this girl is a good girl. Why are you here? You have to have taken one step. Help doesn't find you where you're sitting there and just moping. Help finds you where you're doing something. So assess the situation, decide what value you have, decide to turn it around.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to, please put your hands together. I'm going to allow Miss Gladys leave. She has to travel out of Lagos this morning. So please put your hands together for her. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, so I have a question.
So while we were talking, this question came in and it's related to the things you were saying. So the person says, is it wrong for a child who is intelligent and has come from a poor family should be making money for school fees and coming in late? I think the only part there is coming in late, making money.
So to put it in perspective, 2 wrongs don't make it right. You can't say because I have a disadvantage in this area, then everybody should understand. That's not nothing that we say, people should just know. Why are you looking dirty? My parents don't have money. That's not why you're looking dirty. You're looking dirty because you're dirty. Your parents may not have money, you may have 2 clothes. When I went to Covenant, wait to me, I was going to resume in Covenant. They will give you dress code. My mother and I woke up early in the morning, 6 a.m., went to Katangwa to go and look for skirts and shirts. If I did not tell you that I work for that guy, that's not how you want to know. I have to tell you that this is where we bought it from. Because if we iron and talking, all of us are talking in. You that you're wearing designer suits, me I'm wearing Katangwa shirts, we are all wearing clothes. Proverbs 22 verse 2 says, the rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord God made them both. All of us shop. So the problem is coming in late is that you expect people to understand that I'm the one working for money in my house, so I have to come in late. If you already have a challenge, you know that you have to put in extra work. So it may mean that you wake up earlier than usual. It may mean that you plan your time better. That you see what kind of work. And sometimes you may need to tell what you are doing. Maybe what you are doing is that you are selling before you go to school. Can we sell the evening before? Is there something else we can sell? Because beyond coming late and your teacher abusing you, you're also losing concentration. You're tired, you are stressed, you cannot settle in, you have missed a part of the class. It's not good. And I know that you have to be the one to raise money. And that's a complication on its own, because normally a child should be taken care of. But if you're in a situation, let's think around it to say, okay, what is really making me late? Am I tired from working yesterday night? Can I end a little late earlier and sleep a little more? Am I having to work in the morning? Can I push it to the evening? But don't give people a chance to drag you for something you're working through. When you come late, what you have done, you have given yourself to the teacher's hand. Now he has the right to now drag you. There's a way you compose yourself that nobody gets the opportunity to talk you down for a circumstance. So please, rearrange your schedule. Walk around the reality. See where you can plug your extra hours, but stop coming late.
All right.
God bless you as you try.
Thank you. Now, this other question, except this person was not around yesterday, we addressed this yesterday, but we're just, for the sake of your question, we're just going to speak to it. As someone who is going to become a doctor, mainly because my ambition was shifted. So this person says it transitioned from art to science out of pressure. Being a doctor isn't even whether I really want to even do it. I just want to make everyone proud. So he's being forced to study medicine and be a doctor. You know, he had to move from arts to science. Now he says, my question is, how do I find not only the courage to choose my personal dream, but the clarity to even figure out what it is that I even want to do at this point? Because I don't want to be sitting in a cramped office with patient files while feeling empty as ever. I think someone from the crowd should be able to answer this question based off what we did yesterday, but go ahead.
So I went to science class in secondary school. It was SS3 first term that I crossed to art. SS3 second term actually. It was about 3 months to AEC that I crossed to art class. I've been a science student in the beginning. I was doing core sciences. And why did I cross? I realized in that instance that this science that I'm doing, at the very best, to be average. There's somewhere else where I can shine. So I had to go there. Now my other brother entered OAU for medicine. Came back home after 1 year and told my parents, I'm sorry guys, but I changed my course. And I promise you, it would have been a terrible doctor. It would have been a terrible, terrible doctor. So there's a pressure to make people proud, but let's put your parents want to be proud of you, right? The reason they want to be a doctor because they want to be proud of you. If eventually they can be proud of you, they will be happy. So for the longest time, my mother will say, what's that job that you are doing? It was hard for her to accept copywriting, advertising. She didn't understand it. But am I earning a honest living? Yes. Am I taking care of you? Yes. Am I showing up where I'm supposed to show up? Yes. So they come around. What you don't want to do is end up in a place where you now feel like they messed up your life. Because at last, guess who still has the responsibility? It is you. So the point of it is that they want me to have a career where they are proud of me. If you explain it to them, that don't worry. So the example around Covenant, they sent me to Covenant because they were worried about the whole admission process. I came back and said, don't worry. I promise you, I will come back home with Unilag admission and I will do well. And I did it. I did well. So the end points that your parents want really, they don't want a liability. They want prestige. They want respect. They want proud of you. You have to be able to show to them that this path I want to toe, you will eventually be proud of me because I will make it work. Do you understand? So the other second part is now clarity for what you want to do, which is where it is so easy for them to push you, because if you are firm on what you want to do, they will likely budge to let you do it. It's because you don't yet know. So the work you need to do is not even to think about your parents pressuring you. It's to do the work of introspecting. And they told you yesterday, they say you should write down, what am I good at? All the people compliment. The personality test. What do I do easily? All of those things will help you find where you can thrive. Because when you find where you can thrive, Don't just say, I found it. Now go and research. These people that are doing this thing, what are they doing? How are they doing? So you can tell your parents, Mommy, can you see Chimamanda? That's what I want to be like. You have given them perspective. Don't just say, I don't want to be a doctor. So who do you want to be like? Mommy, can you see? Because you have now, you've been able to dimension exactly what it is you want to do. So I wanted to do arts, for instance. I wanted to be an artist. But I couldn't find an example. But when it comes to communication, I could find examples. My father said, okay, I'll give you a chance. Once you clock 21, I don't have 1 naira to spend on you anymore. Make your life count by 21, or you're done. And we made it happen. So if you come back with a proper argument to say, this is why I cannot do medicine. This is what I'd rather do. This is who is doing it. This is how they are faring. I promise to make you proud. You are likely to get more support. But it begins first with you introspecting. All the things they told you to do yesterday, do it. Write out those things. Ask questions. Find out. You are likely to be able to see what you are good at and find proper support for your argument. I don't know if you have an addition because we're a medicine person too.
Honestly, she has said everything. The truth is, your parents just want to be proud of you. Right? Because one thing I like to say is, and I learned from Bishop Oyedepo, he said, you are absolutely responsible for the outcome of your life. So if they force you to study medicine and you come out a terrible person, guess what? It's still your fault. So I know it's easy for us to stand here and say, oh, just talk to your parents. One thing you can do as well is if you have people that your parents listen to, that they trust, maybe a pastor or a senior member of the family that they can listen to, talk to that person to talk to them. You don't want to study a course miserable at. Although you can learn, you can really give it your best, you can cram and everything. But eventually, if you're not enjoying it, it doesn't make any sense. So find a way to reach out to them. Like you said, our brother changed his course. If you can try that path, but you will not kill you, right? They'll be angry, but they will not kill you. But at the same time, you want to ensure you honor your parents and everything. May God give you wisdom.
All right.
You need to be able to envision. I would tell my mom when I was a teenager, I would say, Mommy, I'm going to write articles and earn millions, and I will take care of you. There was no doubt in my mind. Today, I write articles and earn money. Like, by God's grace, I'm not earning poorly at all. But I would tell her from when she would say, one time when in between university, she said, come and go and learn hairdressing. I did go to learn hairdressing. So now my daughter's hair, I can make it myself. But I told her, this thing, I'm not learning to honor you. I'm going to write things that will bring you're going to be proud to say I'm this person's child. So when you have a vision, an idea, right, of where you are going, it keeps you motivated. The second thing that you must have is the right company around you. If you have guys that are also going somewhere, when you are slacking, they will ginger you. Don't have friends that everybody's just slacking. Don't be the only person that is great in your friendship. Every other person is now only you, they work hard. Very soon, they will bring you down to their level. Have friendships, and when you see what they are doing, you're like, Every time you talk to them, everybody's. So let me give an example. If you check your results now, and it's got 65 out of 100, how will you feel? Somewhat bad. I'll be like, I could have done better. But your friends now came. Biola got 45. James got 52. Kemi got 43. You got 65. How will you feel? Great. Like, man, I'm killing it. I'm doing well. What's the difference? The company around you. If your friend got 82, like he's got 65, you feel very bad. So you need to have people who can share your passion, whose vision is also larger than them, so that you are gingering each other. One person is saying, let's do this thing. And then what also helps is to find someone who has gone ahead that you can tie yourself to. Like I keep telling you, if I made it, you can make it too. Those things force you to be disciplined. And then when you consider, so the privilege I have had for having those years of poverty is that I know what it means to be poor, right? And I know that I don't want to be there. So money is the reason why I don't owe anybody, for instance. Because I don't want anybody to drag me for owing. I know what it means to owe. So money is now a thing. I know that this thing is a tool that we have to use well. Because I've seen poverty, the alternative of not working, I know what it can be like, and I don't want to be there. That one self is motivation. Then I've made mouth to my parents, to plenty of people, that I'm going to make it. I dare not make it. The dragging will be plenty. Right? So find a picture of yourself in the future. Put it where you can see it. Write all the things you're going to be. Put on your mirror on the door of your room. Write it there. Sometimes your parents come and laugh at you. Your siblings laugh at you like, are you joking? Look at it. That thing is what drives you to keep working hard. Then let your guys be stand-up guys that are doing great things too, that are pushing you. People that when you say, there's a concept called West Blankets. I learned in secondary school. The boss talk to us. A West Blanket is a person in your corner that when you have great ideas, they pour cold water on it. When you say, I'm going to be here, they say, is it people like you? What should you do? Run from that kind of person. You need people that are firelighters. That when you say, I want to be a great musician, say, yes, you can do it. I even like the way you sing. We just need to learn this. Those guys, they are the things. If your parents, because I know some people have parents that talk down on them. So people have parents that say, I see how you're working, so but you can never become anything. You have to find another voice outside that will be louder. If you're a Christian, it's why you must be close to your Bible, because in the scriptures, there are so many promises that affirm who you truly are. So if you live in an environment where they're always talking down on you, they're calling you names, they say you cannot make it, say you're slow. You must now find motivation from outside, from within. So that when they say you can never make it, you tell yourself, I will make it, and I'll show you. The best revenge for that kind of situation is to actually make it and prove them wrong.
All right. And the final question. My question is relating to what she said about the background being poor. So I'm a student wanting to enter school, but no money. Your case is not different. It's not new now. I don't know. I want to study English language education, but people are against the course. Man, what can I do, even though there's no ability for sponsorship? Man, we already answered this question now. People.
Why is the opinion that important?
I don't understand.
Why do you want to study English language? She was talking about finding a why. She was saying that her son was a why, what she could go through. You must also find your why. If you know why you want to study English language, then what people are saying will not matter. And then yesterday, the lady from HR said that your first degree is really a leveler. Do you remember? It's just getting a... And I wanted to first, when I was in science class, I wanted to be a pharmacist because I really felt like the call was on my head to cure AIDS. I felt like I was called to cure AIDS, so I wanted to be a pharmacist. But then chemistry and I were not so close. So SS3, second time I went to arts class. Then I wanted to now be an architect, then a lawyer. But I met one lawyer man. His glasses were very thick. The books on his table were very high. I said, this is not my life. Then I wanted to be a dancer. My father said, no way. Then I wanted to be an artist. My father said, no way again. But when I found communication right, and I understood that it was like a midpoint between everything I could do, it made sense. And even though my parents didn't quite understand how we make it work, by that time, I knew that there's something for me in this mix. So the first problem is your own conviction. Why do I want to study English language? Is it because I feel like I can't study another course? If you're not feeling like you feel like, oh, I'm not brilliant for another course, your why is very weak. If it's like you actually have a passion for the language, you feel like you can thrive there, then that's the why you hold on to, no matter what they are saying. All the people they are saying, they are going to have opinions. There will always be opinions in your life. You decide which one to listen to, which one to expand in your mind, which one to follow up on. So if English, you feel like you have a thing for English, go ahead and do it. People that say you should study it, they are thinking you're going to be poor. When you are rich, they will see that you're not poor, and everybody will be happy at last.
The part of no money.
Okay, no money. Again, we've been on this journey. If you don't have money today, money goes where there's value. Find a value you can offer. If it's Zobo, you can make. If it's hair, you can make. If it's videos you want to learn how to make. If it's find something to learn that can bring money. If you don't want to go to school, then take the next 1 year. Find to learn. Turn that thing to money, right? So that you can have money to go to. Money is the easiest resource to recreate. Life, time, and money. You only have one life. Your time is going every day. But if you sit down and think about it, you can make money.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together for Mrs. Bumilofe and Mr. Rotimi. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is the mic.